Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes' Illuminati, the man who rules the world, takes on the head of the global elite in this all-new action-packed John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' Illuminati in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. The CEO of United Healthcare was assassinated outside of the Hilton Hotel in Midtown Manhattan.
Police sources tell ABC News United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson is dead after being shot in Midtown Manhattan. The shooting happened near the Midtown Hilton. Thompson was not staying in the hotel, but we've learned he was in New York for an investors conference. Police say right now they believe that shooting was targeted, and our Phil Lipoff is here in studio with the latest on this. Phil, to hear about anyone being shot is obviously unnerving, but where this happened?
Yeah, even for New York City, this is a brazen murder that happened in broad daylight. Just before 7 o'clock this morning, police are telling us that Brian Thompson, as you mentioned, who is the CEO of the insurance wing, I want to get that right, the health insurance wing of United Healthcare, was walking up to the Hilton, which is, if you're familiar with New York City around the country, it's 6th Avenue between 53rd and 54th.
Very close to Radio City, very close to the Christmas tree that everyone comes to see at tourist destination.
That lighting is tonight, too, so you know there's more security in the area. This CEO was walking up. There was an investors conference there in the Hilton. He was not staying there, but he was just walking up there, and a witness tells our affiliate WABC here in New York City that they saw a man dressed in all black with a black ski mask on, waiting outside the Hilton, fired a gun several times, hit this 50-year-old man, Brian Thompson, in the chest. And he was rushed to the hospital, later died at the hospital. Police are telling us this looks to be a targeted attack. It was very specific. They just don't know why he was targeted, and the investigation is starting. Meantime, that shooter ran off down an alley and is still at large in New York City right now.
So what more do we know about that suspect and this manhunt now?
Well, what we know about the suspect is he waited for about 10 minutes outside of the hotel. We don't know anything else except a very vague description of a 6'1" tall man dressed in all black with a ski mask. Obviously, in a situation like this, person's going to be shedding clothes as they're running away. There are Ubers, there are cabs. It's going to be difficult to find this man. We're expecting, I think 11:30 this morning, we're expecting another update. But we know that this was a CEO, that his schedule was widely known. It wasn't a secret. There was a conference at the Hilton. He was walking in. Someone was waiting for him and took a bunch of shots and wound up killing him.
Wow. All right, Phil Lipoff, I know you're staying on top of this for us. Thank you.
Yep. New York cops today releasing the clearest picture yet of the man they say is the shooter. It was taken when the guy checked into a youth hostel on the Upper West Side of Manhattan using a fake name.
And on the bullet casing and on a bullet, intriguing messages mirroring the title of a book published several years ago. The topic of that book, a how-to for insurance companies to deny medical claims. Chilling video showing the killer opening fire on United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. This happened outside the Hilton Hotel on West 54th Street yesterday morning. Thompson was a father of 2 children headed to a conference when he was assassinated.
The shooter stayed at a hotel, in a hostel hotel at 103 and Amsterdam before the evacuation and the execution-style murder actually occurred. Eyewitness News' reporter Jay Burkett is there live tonight with our lead story. Newt.
And right, Bill, Eyewitness News has learned tonight that the suspect checked in here at the hostel on Saturday. That's 5 days before the murder. And Eyewitness News has also learned that crime scene investigators have recovered a partial fingerprint from a water bottle found at the scene. But yes, as you point out, their biggest clue came from a surveillance camera here at the hostel.
I didn't recognize him at all.
We didn't recognize him. We just thought that's a bit scary to be in a hostel with someone like that.
Guests at the hostel couldn't place the face, the smiling face of the man now wanted for the brazen, cold-blooded murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Thompson was walking to an investor conference at the Hilton yesterday when he was gunned down. As he strides confidently toward the door, the killer steps out of the shadows and opens fire. In seconds, Thompson would lay dying on the sidewalk, and the gunman would be gone. He ran through this alley, dropping his cell phone along the way. He turned east onto West 55th Street and then out onto 6th Avenue. He would be spotted on an e-bike heading into Central Park and later riding down West 85th Street. Using surveillance images, police tracked him to the hostel on Amsterdam Avenue. By the time they searched his room, he was gone. But their painstaking work paid off with the first clear images of the killer's face. Former NYPD Chief of Detectives Robert Boyce.
So once you get him in a direction, you just play leapfrog with video, and you just track him like a scent hound, almost only using video.
This latest video shows the killer coming out of the subway in Midtown half an hour before the murder. Another clue is the suspect's weapon, what's known as a B&T Station 6, a unique 9mm bolt-action handgun, possibly purchased at a gun shop in Connecticut.
And these things are complicated to use. It is our belief that he is well accustomed with it. He knows how to use it.
What's more, forensics teams found engravings on the shell casings and live rounds recovered at the scene, with the words deny, defend, and depose, startlingly similar to the title of this book, critical of the health insurance industry and published 14 years ago by a Rutgers law professor, which hints at a possible motive.
Speculation on motive is important. But right now, it's secondary to the apprehension, which they're moving very quickly.
Well, the NYPD is flooded tonight with tips and potential sightings. In fact, they stopped and searched 2 trains today and came up empty. For now, the suspect appears to be at least one step ahead of them, but probably not for long.
Now, in this troubling and disturbing alleged incident that took place in Midtown Manhattan, United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson stepped out of the Hilton hotel he was staying in for a conference on Wednesday morning, and as he stepped out of the conference on Wednesday morning, a suspect who was wearing a mask and a hooded coat confronted Brian Thompson, shooting him 3 times with a 9mm pistol with a silencer, and then got on a bike and fled the scene. And after he wound up allegedly fleeing the scene, the suspect then wound up changing his clothes and then wound up fading into the city's population. And as he faded into the city's population, he left people with a mystery as related to his motive for murdering the United Healthcare CEO that they're still trying to investigate as they're trying to find the suspect. Now, the NYPD see this entire incident as a very disturbing and isolated incident, but when I look at the clues as related to this subject, I can see it possibly being a case of possibly fitting that pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. However, I want to take my time and wait for the NYPD to find a suspect as related to this alleged crime. And the reason why I want to wait for the NYPD to find a suspect is because this whole case really has a lot going on right now. Now, according to some reports, they say that the bullets that the suspect wound up shooting Brian Thompson with had words written on them as related to the 3 bullets he used, and they say that those three bullets, the words used on them were deny, depose, and defend, and basically are similar to that of what was presented on a book as related to the title of a book called Delay, Deny, and Defend, and talked about why insurance companies don't pay claims and what you can do about it. So this whole case could possibly be one of a very disgruntled individual who is upset about the state of healthcare as related to United Healthcare, and that could possibly be a motive for the possible murder of this CEO. The reason they could have possibly had a motive to murder Brian Thompson could have been related to an issue of claims, because according to some reports, they say that United Healthcare during the COVID-19 pandemic went out here and denied a lot of claims, and that could have really angered and upset the individual who participated in this assassination of the CEO. It could have been possible that one of their loved ones wound up losing their lives due to the very harsh policies instituted by United Healthcare as related to denying a family member in their family a claim as related to their healthcare. That possibly could have been the possible motive for murder, and that could have possibly been the thing that upset this individual to the point where they possibly planned this murder with malice aforethought, to the point where they basically sat there studying where the CEO was going to be and studying where the CEO was going to be, to the point where they basically waited for the time for them to come out and could identify them and then just go out here and willfully and intentionally murder them. That's what possibly could have happened as related to this situation, as related to this clear case of an assassination. Possibly it could have been because the individual in this case was so frustrated and so angry about the way a family member possibly had lost their life or something happened to them as related to United Healthcare, because when people started looking at the background of United Healthcare and the cold and callous way people were treated with this healthcare company, that could have been one of the things that possibly could have motivated this suspect to go out here and participate in this crime, where they believed that they were justified in possibly looking to get revenge. That could be the main reason for this murder. Now, this is just me speculating because there is nothing confirmed at this point. There's nothing confirmed at this point as related to the murder of Brian Thompson, but the way people have been treated in this healthcare system is extremely egregious, and this is what possibly could have motivated this person to participate in this violence. Now, when I look at this whole situation, again, it's really a condemning statement on America's healthcare system, which really doesn't do a good job of caring for the American people. No, in this era of the Affordable Care Act, most people aren't really getting care, and I've seen this happen in my own family with the way several of my family members, including my mother and two of my sisters, were treated by America's just egregious healthcare system, how they really didn't get that kind of nurturing care that people need when they need to get their health taken care of. No, what we get in today's American healthcare system is people treated very poorly, and as people are treated very poorly, many family members see their relatives who are basically in a very bad place being just treated coldly and callously, not only by the so-called medical professionals, but even treated worse by the healthcare companies, which basically don't care about driving people into debt by not looking to pay for their health care and looking for every minute reason to go out here and deny people the health care that they basically wind up getting money taken out of their paycheck for. And this could have been the thing that possibly had this person who was simmering and boiling in anger to the point where they were exploding in this rage, and possibly could have gotten so upset about the way a family member was treated, because that's possibly what I'm seeing from the way that these words were written on these bullets, and this person willfully and intentionally taking 3 shots that would lead to these bullets winding up in the body of Brian Thompson. What I see here is that this person was extremely angry about the way United Healthcare possibly treated one of their family members. This is one of the things that I'm speculating possibly was the case to lead to this person being motivated to participate in this murder as related to this assassination of this executive. And this assassination of this executive could have been something pushed as related to the way this company has callously and coldly treated people, and even worse, as Brian Thompson created these policies that coldly and callously treated people so badly as related to their health care and not paying their claims or helping them be able to pay their claims. Brian Thompson allegedly basically was sold all of his stock in United Healthcare before he went to this conference. So it shows how little regard they had for the people who paid into this healthcare, and that possibly could have led to Brian Thompson possibly reaping what he sowed, greater than what he sowed, later than what he sowed. I do not condone any sort of violence against anyone, but this whole situation is one that shows how poorly people do get treated in this American healthcare system, and was continuing to be the way that they wanted to continue to treat people, because just the day before, we had Blue Cross and Blue Shield here in New York saying that they weren't going to pay for anesthesia for certain procedures, and were going to make this an official policy until they heard about the assassination of Brian Thompson. And when they heard about the assassination of Brian Thompson, this is where Blue Cross and Blue Shield decided to reverse its policies, and some have to wonder, like myself, if they reversed those policies because they feared that this could again trigger another individual into looking to become a person who believed that they needed to use violence because they felt like they had nothing to lose. And I believe what happened here is a result of people feeling frustrated, feeling angry about the healthcare system, and not really being able to get care from a system they pay into, and a whole bunch of cold, callous, and indifferent individuals in healthcare who put profits over people. And that's what basically possibly motivated this person to go out here and participate in this murder. And again, this is me just making general observations based as related to what happened as related to this incident, because what I wanted to do was basically wait until the NYPD were able to go out and arrest the suspect. However, many of my viewers wanted me to talk about this story, and I decided to go out here and talk about this story as related to speculating about what possibly could have led to the motive for murder as related to the man crisis and the healthcare crisis in this country, because many Americans don't really get good quality healthcare under the so-called Affordable Care Act. The Affordable Care Act basically just went out here and made companies like United Healthcare richer, but didn't really care for the people out here as related to providing them quality service. No, passively people got health care, but aggressively that health care doesn't provide for their needs, and that could have possibly led to things getting to the point where people started looking to, again, feel frustrated to the point where this guy felt like he needed to take action. Now, there is speculation that the suspect basically stayed in a hostel and came out of the hostel and then waited for this executive, Brian Thompson, and looked to take his life. And now a family basically doesn't have a father for those two children. But sadly, this is what happens when people really don't care about the needs of those that they are supposed to be serving, because United Healthcare didn't care about its people. Brian Thompson made $10 million a year, but he didn't make sure that the millions of people who had United Healthcare, especially during the COVID pandemic, were able to receive proper care. And even after the pandemic, they didn't think about giving people proper care. And that's why a lot of people got angry, and this person got triggered to the point where they looked to, again, do harm to this executive, because they possibly got so frustrated that they felt that they had nothing to lose. And since they felt they had nothing to lose, this is what possibly motivated this individual to look to do harm to this executive, because this executive possibly they felt like didn't care about the needs of the people that they served, didn't care about looking to give the people that they were hired to look after the kind of care that it was about. No, it was all about looking to please the stockholders and look to give them a dividend, and not looking to give the people who paid into the medical system their dividend, which was quality health care. And that's the scary part about this whole situation. A lot of people are caught up in their anger at this whole situation, but they're not seeing what led up to this, which was American greed. And this American greed is possibly what led to this whole assassination on the streets of New York, a situation that basically, again, shows how things are out of control, because we've got a whole group of disconnected detached wealthy people in the aftermath of the pandemic, and this group of detached and disconnected people are completely out of touch with the customers that they serve, completely disconnected and detached from those people, and have no care for those people. And since those people feel like they cannot get any sort of support, this is where they push to these extremes, and this is what possibly motivated this individual to believe that this extreme behavior was perfectly fine. This is what possibly motivated them to believe this was okay to do, because they felt like they had nothing to lose. And again, there's nothing more dangerous than a population of people who feel like they have nothing to lose. And we've got a lot of those people out there due to the dire state of the American economy, due to all of this inflation, due to all of these high prices and all of these high premiums as related to healthcare. And what the thing that could happen is that this person could suffer a loss and it could trigger them. And basically what we were seeing was nothing but callousness and indifference from companies like United Healthcare and companies like Blue Cross and Blue Shield, which were looking to deny people anesthesia in the middle of a surgery. I mean, that's just cold and callous. And if it wasn't for this tragic incident, they would have continued, again, looking to believe that they could abuse people in a vulnerable situation, and abuse people in a vulnerable situation because they basically were looking to nickel and dime for a few dollars. And again, this just shows the callousness of these kind of executives who really need to get a grip. And sadly, it took this sad situation for them to see the reality of consequences, because again, when you push already strained American people too far, this can lead to, again, these type of situations, especially with beta males, because beta males, when they feel like they cannot get any sort of resolution, they go and they start pushing to these kind of extremes. Now, I don't know if this guy is a beta male who fits the man crisis profile. I won't know that until we get more information on the suspect. However, many viewers wanted me to talk about this whole case. And when I look at this whole case, it's a case, sadly, that's a great tragedy, but it's a tragedy of corporate America reaping what it sowed, greater than what it sowed, later than what it sowed, and basically another case of the season of the simp, where you might wind up, again, thinking that you can save a few dollars, but that those dollars you save may wind up costing you later on in life. And sadly, this CEO, as related to his business policies, never thought he would meet a tragic end like this. No, he never thought he would meet a tragic end like this, and he never thought this would happen. But sadly, many people in this world, in this country and this world, are never looking at the big picture as related to things. And since they can't see the subtle politics transpiring around them, and can't see how the things that they do in business can wind up leading to them, again, like the late Charles Stanley said, reaping what you sow, greater than what you sow, later than what you sow. Many of these executives never ever think that maybe one day you could wind up in a situation where you wind up possibly being at the end of your own policies, and those policies that you did to go out here and look to save a few dollars wind up costing you more than what you thought in the future. Now, I want to really wait until we get a suspect arrested or a suspect confirmed before I do another video on this whole shooting of the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. And I only did this video because many of my viewers have been dropping comments in the comments section related to this case, and I wanted to give them a video so that they could see my own analysis of this whole situation. But I hope to go into a more in-depth analysis regarding the possible man crisis and this situation in a video later on. But I just wanted to make some speculations and observations regarding the matter. So if you want to go out here and possibly look at possible things that could identify a beta male or as related to their behavior, you can pick up my books like The Man Crisis and other men's issues books, and you can find much of my titles on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. And I'm hoping my viewers will drop a super chat or drop a donation to the PayPal or the Cash App for this video that they have been wanting me to make, and hopefully go out here and continue to support the channel so I can continue going out here and making more great content and hopefully sharing more information with you with what's related to subjects like this. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.